and when in the studio. At some point, we're going to put a call through to Mr. Libras Oshoma. Um, but let me ask Osa. So the election is lost and won. Um, I predicted that Obaseki was going to win anyway, not just because he's my friend, but part of the reasons was that and correct me if I'm wrong, I think that the Eze Yamo strategy mainly was on show of force, which I think the Oba now by his intervention, put to bed. By the way, did you see the tweet that I said? Do you want me to read it to you? The tweets that I put out yesterday or so, when the results came out, in which I said that the Oba, that the Oba was the biggest winner. I said the big winner in this election is the Oba of Benin, who behaved as expected of elders, and the biggest loser is Oshomole, who ignored the expiry dates on the political brand handed to him. Watch out for the next evidence of brand expiration. Do you know? Do you have an idea where the next? but before we talk about, in life, Osa, like I always say, whatever, no matter where you are, you must re-strategize, you must think deeply, you must be careful, because what I've noticed going through life myself is that if at the time the whistle is blown, you don't listen, you just be tumbling and falling like a pack of cards, and that's what has happened to Shomole in this case. You agree?
Yes, I agree. I agree, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that it's going to happen this way for him, and because he costs everything that happened to him. So like some funny cartoon that I saw, it's like he digged his own grave. He digged his own grave, and he buried himself
inside.
Yes, inside it, and to me, as far as Edo State is concerned, he has gone into oblivion.
Tell me a bit about the two dramatis personae. That's the Obaseki and Eze Yamo. Tell me just a bit about the two of them. If on an ordinary, without all the other circumstances, one would have been able to defeat the other. What are their strengths? What were their strengths and weaknesses?
Politically, I will give Eze Yamo an edge.
Politically,
he has been in this system for a while, and dates back to the days when Lucky Benedict was the chairman of a radio local government area. And that's, you can imagine, this was like
going through that process.
He has always been with the Benedict dynasty. Always been like an adopted son to them. The two, his father and his son of Benin, we are like buddies, like friends. So and he's always been around that family. So and he was the chief of staff from 1999 to 2003.
To Lucky Benedict, yes.
So he was the SSG again for the state government from 2003 to 2007. So you can imagine when democracy came in back again after the military rule from 1999 so to 2007, he was a permanent fixture.
So if he had all this, why couldn't he have beaten Obaseki in the first term, in the first election? He ran against him. Or was it a function of the party?
He ran against him. So you can say okay, the powerful currency, all those things came into play because the margin was
that we are talking of the first time now.
Yes, the margin was a little bit not as large.
When you talk about because Oshomole was
because Obaseki was like a greenhorn.
Yes,
from nowhere you just pull out somebody's name and say this is the person. So I think people know him. He's from the Obaseki family. But, he's based in Lagos. He was head of the economic management team. He was a little bit under. Doing his own role underground.
A bit of a technocrat.
Yes, technocrat underground. So you don't see his faces. So only the people in the government circle that see him and see, okay, this is Comrade's right hand man, or so his advisor or stuff like that.
What went wrong between himself and Oshomole self?
And Comrade.
Yes.
I think a majority of those things based on principles and based on from my own findings. It's based on facts that he felt there's some certain thing there's certain decision that Comrade has taken when Comrade was executive governor. When he now got into the seat, decided to say some of those decisions were anti-people. You know, like so many IOUs. You know, when so many people claim, oh, we helped you to come to power. I delivered XYZ local government. I did XYZ. You know, those politicians that have that have entrenched themselves into the system, which any government that comes in, whether APC, whether PDP, whether ECN, you know, they're always around. You know, that corridors of power. So you know,
they want to be carried along.
Carried along,
as I
like they usually
say.
So,
Yes.
You know, so those set of people were the one that were hitting the polity. Not
because I heard that Obaseki was a difficult man to handle in that regard. He rather saw himself, which is for the better of the state, though, if you ask me, saw himself as MD of a financial company to run, and was looking at profit and loss. You know, but you know, politically, that's not the way it goes.
Yeah, because it's the average politician in those states, Obaseki, Obaseki. Almost similar names. Okay, the average politician in those states feels that Obaseki is a very stingy man.
Stingy in the sense that
he doesn't want anything to drop on the floor. Even the one that dropped on the floor, pick it back.
He'll pick it, yes.
So he is that everything. He brings in some expatriates. He brings in some professionals. Everything, you know. And how are we going to mobilize our own forces, you know, in the grassroots and things like that. So those are the complaints that
they have against him.
But when you now hear from Obaseki, he will tell you that there's no resources in the state. We are in debt from previous administration that we are paying, and I don't have resources. I have to pay teachers. I have to pay pensioners. I have to do all sorts, and I still have to have the little one to do infrastructural development of the state. So where will I have money now to be giving somebody?
Was he paying salaries as and when due?
Yes, he did. And that was one of the biggest.
Yes, I was going to get to that.
So you can imagine pensioners who were busy.
He was paying them,
moving every time in the news those days. Even during lucky time, it was a recurring decimal. You see them walking into the street with placards, sitting down in different parts of Benin with placards and stuff like that. But you know, this time around, everybody gets their money. So you can imagine those people.
Oh yes.
You can imagine their children. So you can imagine those little things that daddy will tell you, I'm collecting my pension as I trained you. So you can imagine those. So those were the things that was translating to the people in the grassroots who feel they're happy. So it's like almost, it's like a civil service state. You know, not lots of industries like you have before in those days, where you have in the old Bender state or so. But it's a civil service state. So for you to have those funds and you are paying.
What was it with these Santana guys? Some roughnecks, Kabaka, sorry, I said Santana, Kabaka.
Those guys are street urchins who decided to who Oshomole empowered.
What do you mean empowered them? Give them money.
You know, when you carve an area and say they should go and be collecting taxes from people, from the informal sector.
How do you run a state?
And then they now bring peanuts back to the state, so you use them as a political. Your political army that you use, so that they will be there to muzzle people. So those guys collect the money. They even ring bell that Kabaka is coming. They ring a bell.
You're kidding me?
Yes, now. You go to run all those women that are around the ring road area, New Benin.
There are no ring road,
yes. So they're just busy picking
Oba Market, all those places.
Yes, now, so every day, it's just like the way your Agbedo typically stop your boss and collect that money.
Yes.
So those money we are going, it was supposed to be informal sector tax that, maybe 100 naira, 200 naira every day for what he's selling. Those money goes to private pockets. So the guy even went on ground and celebrated his 1 billion.
Yeah, kidding.
Yes, he said he celebrated the first billion, had a small lion, and he had a small lion that he brought. The governor took it from him and put it back to the zoo.
Who took it from him?
Governor.
Obaseki.
Took it from him.
Where is he now? What happened to him eventually? I know his hotel was demolished. He built a house.
Yes, because it was in the government land that he carved part of it and to add to his own. So there was so much impunity, Mr. Jimmy. So much impunity in that state. So that's what you see the people. Those are the things that people don't want to go back to those days.
Yeah, because it just makes sense. Why would people vote for somebody who would be putting them through some form of hardship? No wonder the market women came out in their numbers and,
Yes, now they came out in your numbers.
Even the Labour Congress in the party declared this thing for Obaseki.
My aged mother went to vote.
Your mom went to
Yeah,
vote.
she quickly give me a call and tell me, I voted Obaseki. I hope they will not rig this one out too. Understand? No?
If the results had gone the other way around, what do you think would have happened?
I can't imagine what will happen in that state. Because it would have been, I'm sure by now, soldiers and police will be around those states. Because you can see it was a movement. If you watch this victory parade yesterday in the major street of Benin, you see people coming out, trooping out. So it was a movement. So when two people want to fight in Benin, and you are trying to fight yourself, once you just put the flag of Bane, that means complete. So everybody just, we are together. So it was a movement. So it was the people. So he owes that victory to the people. And he owes that victory to the fact that he performed incredibly well in the 4 years he was. Everybody saw that, this guy was.
Why were they joking and calling him MOU governor? What does that mean?
You see, the problem that they have is that, it's just like me, you want to go into a business with somebody.
Yes.
There have to be a contract.
Of course, that's a memorandum of understanding,
so
yes.
What I'm supposed to do, what you're supposed to do, when you default, this is what you do. So most of them, these guys have never run a business before. So they have been moving from MPN to SDP, NRC to ACN, UPP. That's what they have been doing. So these are professional politicians like Moise Banire who say that don't have a office outside government work. So every morning you resume at the government house.
Okay.
Government house.
We have Libras on the line now. Libras, morning. Hello? 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 Oh, I thought we had Libras on the line. Okay, we'll try and get him back. Okay, all right. So now towards the end of the towards the election day, our own man here, Achiwaju, put out a video asking the Benin people not to vote for Baseki. Even the content of the video embarrassed me. Even the way the video was put together for the man who has access to a TV station, I thought it could have been a bit more tidy. And the point he made didn't make sense to me, that Obaseki was not part of the struggle. What concerns Benin man is part of the struggle. They want somebody to run their state. They want somebody to run their state well. So I wonder what influence do you think the Tinubu that Tinubu message?
Even when he made that speech, the minds of the average Edo people are
yes.
Then that speech alone now, just like somebody, like a burning fire, you now want to bring petrol and pour. So that Tinubu's speech, what Sogo's speech was like as if instructing us what to do. And he has forgotten that we are not called the heartbeat of Nigeria for nothing. So he doesn't know. So he doesn't really know who we are as a people.
That's Edo people.
Yes, he doesn't really know our history. Part of our history is part of the Lagos.
Yes.
He doesn't know those history.
I'm from.
He doesn't know how we fought the Portuguese. He doesn't know those stuff. He doesn't know how we fought the British colonial masters that they took our Oba away and they beheaded him in Calabar. He doesn't know all those stuff. So if you know the average Benin man, the average Isha man, the average Akoko Edo, the average Edo man, even the average Bedel of those days, you should know that we have a mind of our own. So you can't tell us what to do. You can only support his candidate, but not to tell us that he's the father of democracy. So that's we laughed at it. It was now the butt of jokes all over. You can see everybody.
Yeah, it was very embarrassing.
And I'm very, very disappointed with his PR team, who put that stuff for him.
Even the stuff wasn't well put together. It wasn't clear.
So
it wasn't coordinated. Yes.
It wasn't. He is not the one that should have made that statement.
Okay, I think we have Libras on the line now. Libras, morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Sorry about the mix-up. You'd have been with us here, but nothing spoiled. Now, can you give us an idea of what actually took place since you were on ground? Can you just run us through, your experience this time around?
Yeah, first and foremost, what led to what we saw on Saturday was the fact that for once in a long while, INEC decided to innovate and up their game and allow people to actually speak with their tongue. And then the people also had made up their mind to ensure that they defend their territories, defending their decisions. And so for the areas occupied by every party, they ensured that they refuse infiltration from other camps. And the military also, the police, the DSS, and the soldiers also decided to ensure that they protect the ballot by not taking side with anybody. And so that's why, even though the politicians were up to their game,
yes,
but largely, everybody from every part of the world was able to follow the process through with the EC8A that were consistently uploaded from polling units on INEC result portals. It was easy for even the politicians to monitor results as they were coming in from. And so that is why somebody would be in America and tell you, by the evening, I think by 9 p.m., even when people were still saying, wait for final announcement.
Yes.
By 9 p.m. on Saturday, some APC members already knew that the election was, won and lost. But even though some still felt that maybe they probably would compromise INEC or one way or the other. So that's what basically played out.
Let me ask you, Libros, why do you think Eze Yamu did not immediately congratulate Obaseki?
We don't have a culture of conceding defeat easily. By 11 p.m., I called a friend of mine in APC, and I said, if Eze Yamu wants to be few inches taller, democratically, that this would be the time to make that call, because we all have put the figures together, and we already saw from the ECAA, decided on INEC portal, that it is clear that the election had been won and lost. And so, no matter how desperate, no matter how, what he thinks, that I would have expected him to put a call through. And the next day, I also said it. Somebody said he has tweeted. I said, no, it's probably somebody handling his
the Twitter handle. Twitter I saw that tweet too, yes.
I said, for me, that's neither here nor there. Democrats should learn. He should behave like Governor Fayemi when Fayoshe defeated him. Even though I shed tears for Governor Fayemi then, but he is, in my estimation, he introduced a new a paradigm shift in our election that Goodluck Jonathan subsequently followed.
Yes.
So I had expected Eze Yamu, saying that it was obvious, very obvious to the blind and audible to the deaf, that the election had been concluded, the people have decided. But being both from Benin, that it would have been easier to just say, brother, we fought a good fight.
We fought a good fight, yes. In fact, he should have just gotten in his car and driven down there. But, let me ask you, the party actually ended up congratulating Obaseki. And and correct me if I'm wrong, we haven't even heard anything from Eze Yamu. Do you think Eze Yamu himself was consulted before the party at national level congratulated Obaseki?
Eze Yamu had said that, I think I read his Facebook post.
Okay.
That results had been announced and that he's thanking his party supporters.
Excuse me, yes.
For standing tall in the face of alleged intimidation. But that they are studying the results and that he would discuss with his lawyers. And I just said to myself, I said, one never be SAN. Lawyers want to eat again.
They want to eat again. Now you for shop that money.
Now you for shop. But really, I would advise him not to bother. I've handled election petitions in recent time. I would have advised him not to bother. There should be an end to election.
One of your colleagues, senior colleagues, the son, Candid Johnson. I can't quote him verbatim, But he made a statement that was very profound, that it is sad that the wishes of the people, the people would have expressed their wish, but you will now want to overturn that wish through some legal mumbo jumbo, And I'd just like to know your feel as a lawyer, especially, how this redress to legal, this process that our politicians keep going through, that is kind of a bit peculiar to us. I mean, when you watch the other elections in the UK, whatever, you don't find people going from one tribunal to the other and to the cases and so on and so forth.
You see, it's reduced to, first and foremost, lack of transparency in our processes. Once you have transparency in the electoral processes, like what we saw in Edo, there would be nothing to litigate about.
Yes.
And once there's nothing to litigate about, over time, candidates and political parties will borrow themselves a brain to say, look, lawyers will just collect our money. Osaro Naiwu of Abga in 2016 election, I was with him in Abuja, and he said, after the election, a lot of lawyers came to him. Look, we can go to court. I have about 5 points that we can file. And he told them, he said, no problem. I would join you to go to court if you will spend your money on my behalf. I don't have the money to go and spend litigation.
Hello? Oh, we lost that call. Okay, we'll try getting him again. Osa, yeah, so back to you. Why do you think that, as we speak, Ize Yamu has not congratulated Obaseki?
Well, that question is very hard to answer. And since I'm not in Israel,
don't you think he lost an opportunity to be, like Libros said, inches taller, to be a statesman?
I agree with all the statements from Libros. But
yes.
It's Obaseki. I mean, Israel is an average politician, Nigerian politician, who feels that so he's been cheated or something happened somewhere.
Is there anything Ize Yamo would accuse the PDP of that he himself, his own party, did not do? Everybody rigs in Nigerian elections.
Yes. To the best of our knowledge, there's definitely something will happen somewhere. But to the best of our knowledge, we found out that there's no violence here.
Yes.
Something happened there, or things like that happened at the polling. Because everything that we should talk about happened at the polling unit. So did anything happen in any polling unit? Was there stuffing of ballots in any particular isolated or so many isolated cases that you feel those votes will have helped you? Were people not allowed to come and vote? Stuff like that. So with the the observers, local and international observers that observed it, nobody has come out and say these are issues that happen in different areas. So nobody has said so. So I'm just surprised why he has not made the call.
Okay, let me make I pay this bill.
Okay.
You understand? I understand. It's important.
Very, very.
No, what was the word you used? Did you say
very key.
It's key. Okay. I got to take a short commercial break. When I come back, the numbers to call will be 0700 993 993 993, and the Twitter handle is @NigeriaInfoFM. And please tag @Jimi Disu along. We'll take a short break and then we'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. Daily Digest returns in a moment. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
This is Daily Digest with Jimi Disu.
Yeah, welcome back to Daily Digest with Jimi Disu, brought to you by MTN. Right, Osa, we are discussing the Edo elections. So, you heard the statement that I made that the biggest victory goes to the Oba. Do you think, we give a lot of credit to the Oba for making, for letting us have a conducive environment to conduct these elections by his intervention?
The Oba, partially, and he was able to bring them down and.
Why do you say partially?
Because he's not in control of. He's not in control of the security agencies and all that stuff.
Well, but at least he was able to bring the two contestants. Yes,
gladiators,
and then a few of us we think that the Oba too has a lot of traditional powers to make them toe the line of peace if that is what he desires. If you get
well, he played the fatherly role to at least to some extent. To try to talk to two of them on the need for them to shun violence and maybe do that affair, and for them to also stick by the rules. But I think in no small measure, it's also helped to calm down the situation of the atmosphere prior to the election. So he came in and played the fatherly role that the traditional institutions are supposed to.
Well, you're from Edo, and I can understand because always, the Obas have always been in positions of fatherly roles. I think partially because the road to Obaship is very clear.
Yes.
It's one way.
Yes.
We have now had problems in the southwest, indeed in the southeast and some other areas when it's become competitive. The politicians have diluted the whole scenario, and therefore we hope that our own Obas now will take a cue. And we had a situation, for example, where an Oba openly declared for a political party, indeed threatened that anybody who didn't vote for a particular candidate would be thrown in the river, which was a very unfortunate thing to happen. Extremely unfortunate. I believe that traditional rulers should be father of all. After all, like in the election, like the Oba said, the two contestants are my two Edo sons. So this kind of balance. Look at what happened in Benin over the weekend. Peaceful, generally. Very limited value. By the way, do you think that people felt intimidated not to come out? Because whilst the police and co were doing what they call the show of power, they did a very silly thing. They were shooting in the air. I mean, what would show of power? You want to intimidate the citizens or encourage them to? I think it was a bit counterproductive. Having them go around singing war songs and shooting in the air and stuff like that. What do you think?
That did not deter majority of the people because I was contacting several people from several places in the state, and you find out that majority of the youth form something like a vigilante.
I see.
Yes, they form something like a vigilante, and everybody in their community they try to see who is coming in. I'm sure you saw some videos on the social media where people were stopping buses at night. Where are you coming from? You're coming from Mondo. Oh, you want to come out? Oh, okay, you came to come out and rig election. Yeah, go back. So they were very, 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 very,
very active.
They were very, very active. So it was to me, the people of Edo State has shown the front. I mean, come to the front to tell Nigerians that going forward, no matter what these politicians, no matter how the kind of game they play, we should stick together and let our vote count. We may vote for different parties, but let the vote count.
Let the vote count.
And let the majority of people that voted for each particular party, let that party get into power. So we want to start doing that, especially the Electoral Act. We'll start getting good governance in Nigeria. Because, like I keep telling people that the way our Electoral Act is, and unfortunately this present president has not played a nice role. Has not played a nice role to it. So it's also part of the issue.
Well, but I mean, we still give him credit for providing a level playing field of some sort for this to have happened. Some other president, it is quite crucial.
Yes.
You know, would have brought so many things to bear. But we have some callers there. Let me pick one of them. Hello, good morning. Hello. 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 Hello.
Good morning.
Morning. Who's calling?
Yeah, I'm Shegun.
Please put off the radio. Can you knock off that call, please? Please, when you call, the first thing you do is to go to a quiet environment. The next thing you do is to put off your radio, or else we'll get a feedback, which is what happened in this case. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, Jimmy, good morning.
Morning, who's calling?
Yeah, this is Sebastian.
Sebastian, good morning.
When you mentioned big winners, I expected you to also mention the president as one of the big winners. Because the level playing field and the security men are under him. So that's it.
Okay. I said the biggest winner is the of Benin, and I stand by what I said. I don't want to play politics here. You know, the president is the president.
I think. Let me say some certain things here.
Yes.
I see. I get. It's shameful that we keep saying President XYZ.
Yes.
Governor, this is the winner. Winner for what? What we should have is that we should have institutions. Let me give you a simple example now. November 3rd now, the whole world will be watching the US elections.
Yes.
By the way, they started putting their votes already.
Votes already, yes.
People some states have opened some votes last week. Now, if you watch CNN or any of those their networks, Fox, ABC and co, by midnight or so after close of ballots in what's the name, in California, the guy in CNN will tell you they are projecting Mr. Jimi Disu is the president of the next president of America. Don't need anybody to sit down somewhere and be bringing voters. I mean, you don't need anybody somewhere to be bringing voters register somewhere and start writing one local government to one local government. It's already there. Look at India, for example. That's the biggest democracy in the world. Over 1 billion. They cast, and what they do is parliamentary election, not your normal presidential election.
Yes.
They cast their votes. Different time zones too in India. They cast their votes. By midnight, you will know the party.
But the American myth itself is being broken now. We are seeing things that we never imagined would happen in our lifetime in America.
Because you have a maverick man there as
president.
But also he cannot go against the institution.
Let's wait and see.
A
man who can go as much as go against the health policy of his own country. Publicly, refuse to wear a mask. I think that generally there's a level everybody is going to in this world now. Those who are down are going up small. Those who are up are coming down small. After a while, all of us, America, all of us will be facing the same challenges. Do I have another caller? You have messages, loads of them. Okay, read them out. The next voice you're going to hear is that of Zainab, right?
Yes, sir.
Go on.
Okay. This is YouTube. Muyiwa Abiodun says, Oga Obaseki did not perform well in the first term. Do you have teachers in Edo? It is understandable that he warned you to Oshomole's high-handedness and internal crisis in APC.
Okay. Well, the time for campaign is far gone. I mean, but what is it about this idea? I heard Eze Yamu also say that something about teachers.
I don't understand. I don't understand what they say about teachers.
What I do know is that Oshomole put something in place when he discovered that a lot of the teachers couldn't even teach themselves. Teacher don't teach me nonsense. A lot of the teachers.
You see, currently now, the teachers have this what we call Edo Best.
Okay.
And Edo Best has won an award from the Nigerian Union of Teachers. Just last year, Obaseki was presented the Teachers Governor of the Year.
Okay.
And President Buhari was the one that handed over the plaque on behalf of the teachers to him. So what he's saying about teachers is like he's not. I'm not sure he's in Benin.
No, I'm sure he's reacting to what Eze Iyamu
Yeah,
just
so he's
said.
just saying something on TV. So he's not in Benin. So I'm sure if he's in Benin, he should put up a call and ask how the teachers welfare are now.
Also, wait, there's something here that we need to talk about very quickly, and I'm going to take it from this reaction that I have here from Michael Esegbe,
Okay.
and he says that we have experienced Sotoge in Kwara, Ogbane in Edo State. Is that what it is?
Yes, Ogbane.
What does Ogbane mean?
It is complete.
It is complete. And he is now saying that, are we now going to experience whatever I can't read this Yoruba, but I can't read it well. What does this portend for that big man in Lagos here who put his finger in the Benin pie and suddenly had to withdraw it?
That's a big question. It depends on the people. And it depends on, something like that similarly happened some years ago, if you understand.
Mm-hmm.
Like 2011, something similar, almost happened in Lagos during the time of BRF. There was that stuff of BRF not becoming governor and people already made up their mind that if you like, he goes to Zoo Party, will follow him there and go and start voting there. Even that had the PDP on who were trying to woo him to come to come and grab the ticket.
Yes.
So it's if, for example, peradventure, our man there now, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, performed extremely well, and you're now saying it's going to be one term for him too. The people will rise up against such.
Apart from that, I even think that look, we've been at this thing for over 20 years. It can't be the same anymore. I think people are much more aware about these things and are less tolerant of godfathers. For example, I hear the current senatorial election that's going to take place pretty soon. That we might just be jolly well be in for a surprise.
Are you sure?
They say we might. I'm just saying, but
I'm not sure.
I hear that there's a lot of undercurrent within the APC, the least of which would lead to apathy. Okay, whether the PDP man is now strong. Let me tell you something, Osa. If you go down memory lane, the first primaries that produced this gentleman we are talking about was actually won by. By Funchal. Yes,
1998 December.
But for his death, the political story would have been completely different. Yes. The question I'd like to ask is the following that he has: is it predicated on economics or strong desire and love? Awolowo has been dead now for close to 40 how many years?
40 years.
There are loads of people who still swear by him.
You see, the loyalty that people have for him. It's based on economic loyalty.
Yes.
And it's based on what you can grab from him. Those are not loyalty. Those are loyalty that you use to buy with you purchase and you issued receipt as a proof of payment that I paid for this loyalty. That's what you have. The loyalty that you see, the loyalty that you see that we gave to Governor Obaseki was loyalty that it was not bought.
Okay.
It was not bought. It was that we want this man to continue.
Yes, because he's doing well for us.
Continue. So the majority of voted for him. You understand? The majority of people voted for him. So what you have here is loyalty bought, and this empire, this empire is still standing because of one single thing: our electoral act. That's why this empire is standing. Then secondly, this empire is standing because of the nonchalant attitude of the average Lagosians, mainly because 1/3 of people stay in Lagos are not really from Lagos.
Really from Lagos, yes.
So the average Igbo man, the average Edo man, the Ijo, the Jebus and co, everybody else feel. But the passion that you have in your own state, when you have it's very hard.
Very hard, yes.
So those advantages are being taken. So even when we decided to say, okay, we have been paying our taxes, we don't have good roads in our communities, we don't have good schools. Schools are still bad. We're paying so much more that we're getting less. Even when you want to do those things, the Electoral Act hinders you from changing.
Because you keep talking about the Electoral Act.
You see, when votes do not count. We know what happened. We know how people write those things.
Yes.
We know all those things that happen. So when you allow people to vote, and it's transmitted immediately from the point of when you vote,
Yes.
you will see all sorts of all sorts of people. Anybody can come from LPC party in your community, in your community in Sulere, for example, and this young man has told us that he wants to become a local government chairman, he wants to become a councillor. People will vote, and that vote will count.
Yes.
Like you see in the UK, you see some emotional parties. They have one candidate somewhere,
Yes.
in one council,
Yes.
one constituency, because that person is a little popular. He has gone door to door, and everybody know him. Oh, Mr. Mukaila, we know him. We know his antecedents. We know his family. We know everything. He has been working on communities. This is a community person. So when he say he wants to become, people will rally around him and support him. But the issue is that when the process that brings you to power is already faulty, so the money bags that have money use that money to bring you down.
Okay. I have another caller here. Hello, good morning. Hello? Hello, morning. Okay. Hello, morning. Hello?
Hello.
Morning. Hello, can we get him? Okay, let's try and see if we can hear what he has to say, because it's quite
This is Pastor Ladipo speaking from Karigomo.
Who?
This is Pastor Ladipo.
Okay, please go on.
All right. Sir, my take is on the Oba of Benin.
Yes.
I think within this nation as a whole today, that throne is the only throne that have not been desecrated by our politicians.
Yes.
In Lagos today, if any Oba make 10, they are gone. Why? Because many of them have mortgaged their throne. Imagine somebody saying, even this new Oba is coming from my armpit. You know what that means? Please, sir, may God help us all in this. Thank you.
I know the video. I got that video this morning, and I chuckled a little bit. That was. I don't know what it is with this gentleman. He seems to be putting a lot of wrong feet forward, over and over and over again. I got a video where he said, "Oh, this one came from my armpit. Even the vice president, all of you came from my armpit." These are things you don't talk like that in public. Somebody needs to look at this man straight in the face and tell him that he's headed towards a place that he might not find palatable. He seems to be making the wrong moves, and that happens to human beings. When your NAFDAC whatever has expired, to put it in the jocular manner, then every step you take would appear to be wrong. You wanted to say something?
You know when I watched the video?
Yeah.
I watched the video of him there in his garden with a bottle with a glass of water.
Yes.
Making a speech to us in those states.
Yes.
That we should do X, Y, Z. And I chuckled. And when he said he was the father, of democracy.
Yes.
And I laughed. And I went back to memory lane. And I said, okay. Okay. And I went back memory lane.
Yes.
And now I remembered 97, 90, 95, 96, 97, 98. And I said, who were the real progenitors of our democracy? I remember G34. We had likes of Ekwemi and Co.
Yes.
They were on ground in Nigeria fighting Abacha.
Yes.
I remember Alfred Rewane, who was the financier of Nadeco.
Yes.
I remember Chief Anthony Nauru. I remember Pa Adekule Ajasi. All those other guys. This guy came in from England. Afenifere handed over the tickets to him. He rode on the back of a tiger. He came down and ate them. Straight up. And you say you are the father of democracy. Which democracy is that? That's an insult to us Nigerians. Obasanjo went after Abacha. He found himself in jail. Yaradua, what was the issue with Yaradua and Abacha? Was he not on handover, no handover?
Yes.
Was not issues like that? Yaradua did not survive it. He died in prison. He died in prison in Abakaliki somewhere. He did not survive this. So many people had issues. Korea and Co. that was on the streets. They were fighting. And you keep saying you're the father. Father of which of the democracy? If you say father of APC, yes, that can be. Not this democracy that we are. Not this democracy. So that's an insult to not just, it's an insult to millions of Nigerians who remained here, who were under tyranny, who people were killed, people were maimed in the streets, people died, and you say you are the father. Father from where? What would MK Abiola say in his grave? What would MK say in his grave? Father of which of this democracy? What about Abraham Adesanya that was chased, that was almost killed?
He was shot at, actually.
He was shot at actually with his Mercedes Benz. What are we talking about here?
Even though Mr. Baba gets something where they for inside
Yes,
jacket.
on the left pocket.
On the left pocket.
What are you saying? So let's there are people that stood here, there are people that fought for this thing, there are people that gave their all and all.
Well, maybe he claimed that he was also fighting abroad.
Those guys were fighting. Those guys were lounging abroad now. What are they doing? They were lounging in their houses, enjoying now. We were here suffering the streets here now. We were here on that tyranny. People were being killed. People were being maimed. Businesses were being closed. Things like that happen. So let people come and be telling us you are father. Father of what? Yes, you are part of this struggle. We'll agree on that. Don't say you are the father. Father care from where? This is an insult to Nigerians.
No vex. No vex. And it's on that note, I'd like to thank you very much for coming. I'd like to thank Liberals. Sorry we got truncated. Liberals, please be on standby. I'm going to drag you in for another 1 hour pretty soon over this issue and other related issues. So, thank you very much.
Thank you very
Congratulations to Obaseki.
Yes, sir.
If you get to talk to him, even though he's my friend, but you seem to have access to him more than I do. Tell him that I wish him all the best. It should be magnanimous in victory. Leave the lions and the tigers and whatever.
We have caged them at Obazu. So I've left them there.
We'll be back again tomorrow, 9 o'clock. Early Memorial Shegun Agbede under the Diabomis, a midweek break from all these political jagwajantis and so on and so forth. Zainab, thank you very much for being here. And Philip, thanks for being in the corner. One more time, Liberals of Shoma, thank you very, very much. And also, make we they go now.
Yes, sir.
Which of the lions did you come with? No, the taxman is listening. I will bury you on that
Don't
one.
come and look for me. After
I'll see you all tomorrow.
On 99.3 Nigeria Info, your mic is always on. Let's talk.